Hey guys, what's up and welcome again to my channel. So based on a request, here comes the video of Fantomina. So in this video I'm going to discuss the summary of Fantomina or Love in a Maze by Eliza Haywood. So actually friends, Fantomina is a novella, okay? It is a short length work of fiction, that's why it is called novella. On the other hand, novel is quite lengthier than novella. So this Fantomina novella was published in 1725. So before checking out the summary of Fantomina, let's check out some major themes or main themes of this novella Fantomina. So this novella brings out the theme of gender roles, class standing, sexual desire of both men and women, and the difficulty of relationships between men and women in the 18th century society. In this novel, the protagonist or the heroine disguises herself as 4 different women in order to understand how a man behaves with each of the individual lady in different manners. So thus, this novella brings out the picture that how the heroine can easily manipulate her man by using the fact of the strong desire for sex. So these were the main theme. Now let's check out the summary. So at first we have the first disguise or the first intrigue by the protagonist. So this novella opens in a playhouse in London. Firstly, there comes the main female protagonist, whose name is not mentioned here. Okay, she is mentioned as the lady. So the unnamed protagonist or the lady is a young and intelligent young woman from a good family who came to London from country, and thus she enjoys the independence and autonomy in the playhouse. So after visiting the playhouse in London, rather than watching the play, she observed the behavior of other people. And she finds one thing quite surprising, that men are quite willing to associate with the prostitute. So the more she thinks about it, the more she becomes interested in knowing that how the experiences of encountering the person with different social status are different from one another and are different from her own status. Because as she was also present there and she was behaving as a well-born lady, behaving in a gentle way or in a socially acceptable way. So in that case, no one or no man seemed to make gestures to her in a way that they are making to the prostitutes. So the lady then in the next night again visited to the playhouse by the disguise of a prostitute. Okay, so she pretends as a prostitute. She pretends to behave in a way that are done by prostitutes. Okay. And by doing so, she was shocked to see that how men are immediately attracted to her and began flirting with her. And there she met Beauplaisir. So though the lady and Beauplaisir met before, and the lady also had a secret attraction to him, but as the heroine or as the lady disguises herself as a prostitute, that's why Beauplaisir didn't recognize her. Beauplaisir was thinking that the heroine is a prostitute, that's why he told her to meet him at his home or to her residence. But the lady made an excuse to flee from that situation by saying that she had already committed to another client for that night. So then in the next night they met again at the theatre and went on a rented house, which was rented by none other than the lady herself, for having a dinner. So by seeing there a lavish arrangement, Beauplaisir thinks that the lady is perhaps a high-ranked courtesan. So by thinking her as a prostitute, Beauplaisir tries to have sex with her, but she protests and states that she is a virgin. But all these efforts goes in vain as Beauplaisir rapes the lady. After this, he offers all his estate money in recompense to her, but she rejects this by saying that she only wants his love in compensation. So this gesture of the lady made Beauplaisir confused, and he thinks that this lady is hiding her true identity from him. But the lady didn't reveal her truth or true identity, and she told him that she is the daughter of a country gentleman and she came to town to buy clothes. So in order to save herself from social disgrace, she hides her true identity, and it is at this point the lady gives herself the name Fantomina. So then the lady or Fantomina took the promise of Beauplaisir to meet her in the following evening or in the following day And she also bribes the servant of the rented house so that if Beauplaisir inquires about her, then the servant can make up a story. Okay. So after this, the lady or Fantomina returns to her actual house and makes up a story to her aunt that she was going to a trip and that's why she was unable to return at night. Then again, she meets Beauplaisir at her rented apartment 3 or 4 times a week. So this was the first intrigue by the lady as Fantomina. Okay. So now there comes the second intrigue or the second disguise of the lady. So after some time being bored of Fantomina, when Beauplaisir wishes to leave for Bath for a summer vacation, Fantomina wishes to go with him but he rejects. So at this point, Fantomina claims her love for him and vowed at doing anything to engage in an intercourse again with Beauplaisir. Then after taking the permission from her aunt to go to Bath with 2 servants for a kind of vacation, she also leaves for Bath. Okay. But in order to get rid of her servants, she quarrels with them and dismisses them. So then Fantomina, by changing her social status again and identity also, follows Beauplaisir. And by dressing herself and by acquiring the manner of a country maid, she named herself as Celia and obtained the job in a house where Beauplaisir was staying. So Beauplaisir again didn't recognize her and by her charm he again failed to control himself and they again engaged in an intercourse. Then by offering her a large sum of gold, he told her to meet him every day at bedtime. So again after a month he feels tired of her. Okay, and by sensing this, Fantomina or Celia quits herself the job to plot another intrigue, another disguised meeting with Beauplaisir. So this was the second intrigue. Now there comes the third intrigue or the third disguise. So when Beauplaisir leaves Bath, on his way he encounters a widow named Mrs. Bloomer or Widow Bloomer, who is none other than the heroine or Fantomina herself. She dressed now as a widow. She told Beauplaisir that she will lose her savings if she will not urgently reach to London, and thus she implores Beauplaisir to take her to his carriage. So thus again the lady, or we can say again Fantomina or Celia or Mrs. Widow Bloomer succeeds to fool him. Here at this point actually the narrator, or we can say actually Eliza Haywood, a kind of mocks the mere males like Beauplaisir who didn't recognize a lady whom he has encountered several times, and how Fantomina is so much cunning in disguising her true self, in disguising her manner, her voice. So thus in their way of London, Beauplaisir in his mind thinks that perhaps he has seen this lady before, but she told him that she is from Bristol, and after hearing this, Beauplaisir assumes that they never met before. Okay, so thus in their journey from Bath to London, they again share a kind of bond with each other. And when there comes the time to depart, both of them promise to meet again. Okay, so now the lady or Fantomina tries to test Beauplaisir. Okay, she sends 2 letters to him, one as Fantomina and one as Widow Bloomer. But he responds to Mrs. Bloomer's letter with so much desire to see her, and he replied to Fantomina's letter with much unwillingness. Okay, and informs her that he cannot meet her due to some meeting. So you can see the letters and just take a screenshot and read the letters. Then you will find the difference in Beauplaisir's behavior for 2 different women. So Fantomina at this point shows her anger at this different behavior of one person towards 2 different women. But she is quite happy or enraged by the thought that she again succeeds in fooling him. Then again, when the lady meets Beauplaisir as Mrs. Bloomer, she finds him quite enthusiastic. But when the lady meets Beauplaisir as Fantomina, then she can sense Beauplaisir's lack of interest towards her as Fantomina. Okay, so thus the lady realizes that now he had no wish to meet her as Fantomina, and soon the lady realizes that Beauplaisir is going tired of all these characters, and thus she now plans another intrigue. She now plans another disguise. So now the lady plans her fourth disguise. At first, she rents a large apartment or house and employs two gentlemen to act as a staff. Then she sends a letter to Beauplaisir, posing as incognita. And in the letter, she compliments Beauplaisir's charms and invites him to her house, which she recently rented. And she makes one thing clear, that she will not show him her face. So Beauplaisir agrees to come. So you can see the letters. If you read the letter, then you can find out that how much cunning is the lady and how much Beauplaisir eager to meet a new lady. So thus, as a result, they met again, and in the darkness, so that he will not able to see her face, both of them indulged again in sexual activities. At first, Beauplaisir thought that in the intercourse, he will definitely get a chance to see her face, and if not, then in the morning he will definitely able to see her face. But in the morning also, the room remains dark because the room was tightly sealed, so that no light can penetrate into the room, and so that he will not able to see Fantomina's or the lady's face. Okay. So this gesture made Beauplaisir quite confused and frustrated, and he vows not to meet her again. Okay. So thus, after this, the lady continued to fool Beauplaisir as both Fantomina and Mrs. Bloomer. But she is aware of the fact that Beauplaisir is bored, both of the women. Then there comes the turning point by the sudden visit of her mother. So it is at this point the lady got pregnant, but she hides her baby bump from wearing huge hoofed petticoats. Her mother was concerned about her daughter's reckless behavior, and she vowed to send her to the country. And the lady was hoping that if she can be sent to the countries, she will secretly deliver the baby. Okay. Then she attained a court ball as a kind of goodbye from the society. Then there her labor pain begins. Then at this point her mother took her to home, and the doctor informs her real condition, that she is pregnant. Then the old lady, means Fantomina's mother, insists her to reveal the name of this child's father. At this point the lady told her the name of Beauplaisir. Then the lady's mother called upon Beauplaisir. As soon as Beauplaisir arrives, by hearing this shocking truth, he was quite confused because he didn't do anything to the lady, because they had just a little interaction on some social occasions, and obviously they shared no relationship. So he was thinking that she was framing him. Then the lady, who just gave birth to a baby girl, told the entire story, that how she disguised herself as 4 different women and befooled Beauplaisir. So by hearing this shocking confession, her mother didn't accept Beauplaisir to marry the lady, because she thinks that this is entirely her daughter's own fault and Beauplaisir has nothing to do with it. And she told, means her mother, the lady's mother, told Beauplaisir to keep this as a secret. But Beauplaisir agrees of taking the responsibility of the child, but both the lady and her mother rejected his offer. So it is natural that Beauplaisir was still a bit confused, but he still continues to visit there to inquire the health of Fantomina or the lady. But the lady's mother worries that maybe by doing so, her daughter's affair with Beauplaisir will again start. So that's why, by fearing so, one day she told Beauplaisir not to come there anymore. Okay. And when the lady's health was stable, then her mother sends her to live in a monastery in France. So this was the whole summary. I think that I am able to make you all understand about this. So thank you so very much for watching this video, and if you have any queries about any topic of English literature, then please comment below and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So bye for now. See you in the next session very soon.